Hi there folks, welcome back to my channel, and for this video I am going to be doing another little book review. But before I get on to that part of the video, I want to give out a little announcement. As many of you who have watched my channel previously, who've seen my videos in previous years, you will know that since 2017 I have been trading at places like Comic Con, selling my books there, trying to use it as a kind of platform to try and get the word out about my work. But with everything that's happening at the moment, with the whole kind of coronavirus pandemic, Tom and Ali, who are the two amazing guys who run places like Comic Con, have taken on board the advice from the Scottish Government and have postponed the event until later on this year. So as far as I know, it's not been cancelled, it's just been postponed, and it has been planned that when things are a bit more settled, when things have kind of returned to a sort of level of calm and normality, that we will have places like Comic Con on again. So fingers crossed, and we'll keep you updated on how things are developing. So on to the video itself. So again, as I was saying earlier on at the start of the video, I'm going to be doing a book review, and I have been keeping a tally on what I've read this year, and yeah, I am actually doing so much better than I did last year with the amount of books that I've read. I just seem to have kind of come across books this year that I just seem to have had a kind of a better relationship with. I've just come across books that I've just fallen into and I've really enjoyed, and I've just really enjoyed the characters. Last year was a bit of a struggle when it came to that sort of thing, and yeah. So before I get onto that, if you enjoy my video, if you're enjoying my videos in general, if you're enjoying my channel, please click on that subscriber button, please click on that notification bell, leave some likes, leave some comments, it's always really appreciated. So enough waffling on, enough kind of jibber jabber. Let's get into the main body of the actual video itself, the book review. So the book I'm going to be talking about is actually a sequel. I read the first book a few years back. I can't remember what year I read it or when it came out, but one of my friends had bought it for me when she was up in Orkney. She'd seen it, automatically thought, that is a book that Claire needs to read, and bought it for me, and it just happened to be in a signed copy. So that book itself was called The Gospel of Loki, and what I have just finished reading is The Testaments of Loki by Joanne M. Harris. And I have to admit, I do love the cover art on the front of the book. So it's kind of a cave, and it's got Jormungandr in it. So it's okay, Jormungandr, if you don't know really much about Norse mythology, he was essentially the world serpent who encircled Midgard, or Earth, and was biting his own tail, and because he was doing that, he was keeping the seas in. He was also one of Loki's monstrous broods. So he had 3 children by another Jotun, and they were essentially called his monstrous brood. And Jormungandr is one of them. The other 2 being Hel and Finrur, or Fenris. Anyway, enough of that. If it is kind of, I would say that when I first read The Gospel of Loki, there were certain things about the book that kind of annoyed me, and I just didn't quite like, but I saw The Testament of Loki sitting in the bookshop, and I just kind of thought, well, I've already read the first book, I'll give The Testament of Loki a try. And I have to admit, I really enjoyed The Testament of Loki, so I'm actually kind of tempted to go back and reread The Gospel of Loki, and then reread The Testament of Loki. I kind of do it all, kind of one after the other, and kind of maybe have a different perspective on both books. But I have to admit, as I was just saying there, I really enjoyed this book. I really enjoyed the Testament of Loki. And the whole premise of it is, it's set after Ragnarok and after the fall or the twilight of the gods. And a lot of the gods are actually trapped in either in the netherworld or in what they refer to as dream, which is a kind of, as almost like a kind of the subconscious world or the kind of world between worlds, and it's kind of, a lot of them are kind of trapped within different areas and kind of non-physical forms and spirit form essentially. And the book obviously starts with Loki and how he is trapped in the netherworld, and he, Loki being Loki, figures out a way to escape, and he does. And when he does escape, he finds his way out through a computer game of all things called Asgard, which essentially is kind of a comment on the whole representation of the Norse gods within kind of popular culture now, like through video games like Warcraft, or movies like what's happening with Marvel. And so he kind of, through this computer game, he finds his way into our world and essentially ends up in the body of a teenage girl called Jump. And it's that kind of thing of, it's almost like he doesn't take over her body, he's just present in her. It's almost like they both are able to control what her body does. It's almost like they're sharing this space, and it's through the whole kind of relationship that Loki and Jump end up developing that you end up learning a lot about Jump as a character. Again, she's a young woman, she's in her teens, and you find out that she does have a lot of kind of mental health issues. It's including or it's all kind of centering around her eating disorder, which you do kind of find out a lot about, kind of like in dribs and jabs throughout the book. I have to admit, I do kind of quite like the way that Harris did it. It was never something that felt forced. It was never something that I felt that she was preaching about. It was just, this was something that was part of Jump as a character, and it was never something that defined Jump. It was just part of her story, and kind of part of her within the wider sense of things. And I do kind of love it. I did enjoy the fact that it was through Jump's eyes that Loki learnt a lot about the modern world, and that it was like both of them were learning a lot from each other. That Loki was helping her to kind of come to terms with who she really was. He was kind of teaching her how to kind of be able to stand up for herself, to be more confident, to kind of be a bit more comfortable with who she really was. And I think kind of with Jump, she can help kind of Loki to maybe kind of not necessarily stop being Loki, but maybe kind of bring out a certain level of humanity and maybe a bit of a kind of softer side with Loki, and that essentially help him learn that not everyone's out to get him, which was a bit more of a thing in the first book. That he was out for himself. He saw himself as being kind of him against the world, and that was it. But with the Testament of Loki, it was more, he learns through Jump that not everyone hates him. And there is a kind of running theme throughout the book that, or kind of, also as an impression that I got throughout the book, was that Loki wasn't the god that Jump wanted, but he was the god that she needed. Which is kind of quite a nice little kind of way to kind of present it. And I did like the way kind of the whole relationship between Jump and Loki developed, because very much at the start they were kind of at loggerheads. Jump wanted Loki out of her body. She didn't want anything to do with him. She didn't want involved in what was going on. She didn't want to help. But towards the end, she was becoming more confident, more assertive, and actually saw Loki as being a friend, which was kind of sweet, because I think even though Loki may not really have said it, or may have kind of had doubts, I think there was a slight level of that being reciprocated back to Jump. And so it's kind of, I did get the impression that kind of when I was reading the Testaments of Loki, that Harris is very much setting this up to be a trilogy. That she is very, I just got the impression that at the end, I don't really want to give away any spoilers. I don't want to see what happens, because I do think that people should go away and definitely read this book. But at the end, it is very much kind of some of the storylines have been tied up. Some of them have very much been kind of sorted and the loose ends kind of tidied away. But there's other things that are just kind of suggested that I think suggests that there might be another book on the horizon. Very much the fact that you know that a lot of the main characters are still out there in some form, that they could all kind of come back or all be involved again. And very much there is a prophecy that's kind of, again, going throughout the book, talking about the new runes, and the new runes going to the heirs of Odin. And yeah, and it's very much kind of, again, setting up that there's going to be another book. So I am kind of looking forward to keeping an eye out for that book, and when it does come out, I will definitely get myself a copy and treat myself to it. So again, another book that I've really enjoyed in 2020, and yeah, another one that I definitely recommend. And yeah, Testament of Loki. So I'm going to stop yapping on just now before I really start to ramble. Yeah, sorry to stop filming there for a moment. I'd kind of been eating some nuts earlier on. I think I still had kind of one caught in my throat, and I just started coughing for like a minute or something. So where was I? Oh yeah, I was about to sign off. So again, Testament of Loki, Joanne Harris, definitely recommend. And this might actually be one of the books that I will put onto my favourite books for 2020, see how that goes. So again, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.